Today, we're going to find out what's in this absolutely broken wallet of mine, so stay tuned if you want to learn how to utilize your credit cards for maximum return. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Daniel, the Landmiler, and today we're going to be going over my credit card setup for the next little while. I'm going to be going over two different setups, one for just the Canadian side of things and how I would maximize my card usage with just this one side. I'll also do my setup with both Canadian and US cards, and then we can discuss how these setups differ. For those that are new to the channel, I talk about credit cards, how to travel the world using your points and miles. So if you do want to elevate your travel game, go ahead and give this video a quick thumbs up and subscribing to the channel and turning on that notification button. Now, before we even go into my credit card setup, let's take a look at why it's important to have multiple credit cards and why it's important to utilize the right credit card for the right type of purchase. Like anything else, having the right credit card ensures you're getting the maximum return on your spending. Whether you're spending a couple of dollars at McDonald's or spending tens of thousands of dollars doing a home renovation project, using the wrong credit card can usually lead to thousands or tens of thousands of dollars of loss in travel value over time. And if you're ever spending a bunch of money and you always feel like it takes forever to redeem your next vacation, chances are you are probably just using the wrong credit card. Now, beginning with reason number one, and this is probably the most important reason for having and using the right credit card, is so that you can maximize those bonus multiplier categories. $1 spent on the American Express Cobalt card, for example, on dining or groceries, can potentially yield up to 5 Aeroplan points, whereas if the same dollar was spent on a 1% cashback card, well, you would get back 1 cent. Now, if you're using those Aeroplan points to book, say, a first-class flight, for example, each Aeroplan point can usually go upwards of 5 to upwards of 10 cents per point. If we just earn 5 cents from spending that $1 on the Cobalt, you can potentially be getting back 50 cents of flight value back from that $1 of spending. This is somewhat ideal, and while you're probably going to need to book Lufthansa first class or ANA first class to get this kind of value, even when you're booking on things like Air Canada business class, you can still get 4 to 5 cents per point, so effectively a 20 to 25% return on your spending. Whether or not you want to pay that much for a first class flight is another question, but that's essentially the value that you're getting if you're comparing it to the cash prices on Google Flights. So when some people say they don't spend enough money to collect points, it's usually not the case. It's really a matter of doing your research and understanding which card will give you the best bang for your buck. Literally. Reason number two is to make use of specific credit card offers. This is more tailored for American Express cardholders, especially since Amex does churn out a bunch of different offers that can save you a lot of money if you're shopping at those retailers. While you may sacrifice in not hitting a certain bonus multiplier, something like a $100 Marriott credit or a $75 Oxford gift card credit is just essentially money back in your pocket if you were going to make those purchases anyways. A good example of effective usage is buying that Oxford property gift card and using it to buy an iPhone, which is something that usually doesn't have nearly as many discount opportunities. The third reason would be to hit different bonuses without overspending or underspending. This might be a bit difficult at first, but it goes hand in hand with rule number one when you take a look at which credit card you should be putting your spend towards. Most credit card bonuses don't have a specific category as to which you need to spend on, with the exception of Amex's summer offers. With that being said, you also have to consider things like multiplier bonuses like the Cobalt with their 5x on dining and groceries. So depending on how much you spend normally in a month, if you need to meet a minimum spend requirement, you're usually looking at plucking out lower spend multipliers. Let's say, for example, if we have some spending in a 1x category, we can pull that out and put it towards the minimum spend requirement on the new card. Now, if this does sound like a lot of work, which it is a lot of math, then you can always choose to stop using all of your other cards and allocate all of your spending towards the new card until the bonus is met. Remembering these key rules will certainly increase the amount of return you get on your spending, whether it's dining out at a restaurant or booking a hotel sometime down the road. Last but not least, a great reason to have the right card mix is for the card benefits. Whether it's something like mobile phone insurance, having lounge access, or trip cancellation insurances, having perks on these cards and making the right purchases on them make all the difference. For this one, we'll use the Scotiabank Passport Visa Infinite as an example. Not only does it waive foreign transaction fees when you're trying to make purchases in non-Canadian dollars, it also has things like Priority Pass for their lounge access, as well as Dragon Pass if you're looking to go into the Plaza Premium lounges. So if your next few months did include traveling, it would probably be a good idea to have the Scotiabank Passport in your arsenal. With that being said, let's get into my credit card setup. Like I said before, I'll be showing you two different setups, one with only Canadian cards and one with both Canadian and US cards. If you're Canadian and you haven't delved into the US game, it's probably a great time to do so, and I'll be making some new video content in the future with regards to the US travel game. Let's begin with my purely Canadian setup for the next while. Card number one, we have, of course, the American Express Cobalt card. I know, you're probably sick of me mentioning this card, but it's probably not going to go away anytime soon. This card is bound to stay in my wallet as long as it earns 5 points per dollar on dining and grocery purchases. With the new transferability options, that means that these 5 MR points can become 5 Aeroplan miles, meaning that literally by putting your dining and grocery purchases on this card, you can literally fly around Canada every few months if you wanted to. My streaming services like Netflix will also go on this card and it earns 3 points per dollar. Besides these two categories, my Cobalt is relatively untouched, especially since the 1 point per dollar isn't very high and there's usually another card in my household that requires spending on. Card number two, I have the American Express Aeroplan Reserve Business Card. For this card, I'm still working away on the 10x offers from the summer promotions, and unlike the personal reserve, this card doesn't earn 10x on groceries as well. Fortunately, gas is part of that 10x category, so this card's main job is basically to absorb my family's gas costs. Due to the nature of my family's work, we do use quite a lot of gas, which is also why I'm not transferring that spending from my Cobalt on dining and groceries over to the Business Aeroplan Reserve, just because we can meet that full bonus using gas spending alone. It also doubles up as my travel card, and while I won't be making any purchases on Air Canada using this card, which would earn 3 points per dollar, it does give me access to things like the Maple Leaf Lounge, as well as priority check-in and Zone 2 boarding. Moving away from the Amexes, I do have my third card, which is essentially a catch-all for all places that don't take American Express, and that is the TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite Privilege card. The card does have a 1.5 times multiplier for things like gas, groceries, travel, and a bunch of different categories, but it's essentially going to be there for places that don't take American Express for the most part. The 5x on the Cobalt for dining and groceries, and the 10x on the Aeroplan Reserve Business for gas really beats out the multipliers on the TD VIP by a landslide. But in case I do need to book a flight in the next month on Air Canada, the TD VIP is offering 20 points per dollar on Air Canada purchases. So if I'm going to be doing any booking with Air Canada, you bet it's probably going to be on this card. For all other non-category spend, the 1.25 points per dollar on the TD Aeroplan VIP does beat out the Cobalt's 1x and matches the Business Reserve's 1.25x. An honorable mention here would be the American Express Marriott card. Now, I'm probably not going to be traveling for the next few months, but I usually have this card just in case I do, and you do earn 5 Marriott points per dollar when you spend on Marriott properties using this card. Now that we know all of the different cards, if we combine this portfolio, we can take a look at the stats that we would be entitled to with these cards. Starting with the largest multiplier, we would get 20x Aeroplan on Air Canada purchases, up to $1,000 on the TD Aeroplan VIP. We have 10 points per dollar or 10 MR on gas and dining using the Aeroplan Reserve Business. I put dining there, but I probably won't use it just because I can maximize that full 10x multiplier using gas alone. We have 5x MR on the Cobalt for dining and groceries otherwise, also 5x Marriott points on Marriott hotels using that Amex Marriott card. 3x MR on streaming using the Cobalt, 1.5x on Aeroplan for non-Amex purchases on groceries, dining, travel using the TD Aeroplan, and for the catch-all 1.25 Aeroplan points per dollar on non-category expenses, again on that TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite Privilege. In terms of lounge perks, we do get access to the Maple Leaf Lounge through the Aeroplan Reserve Business Card. If this seems impressive, wait till you see the portfolio with the US cards added in. Now, bringing in the US cards, I'm going to reallocate a bunch of my different spending categories, and you'll see how big of a difference just these two US cards will make. First up, I recently managed to acquire the US version of the Personal Platinum Card. I'm actively working towards this bonus, which is $6,000 to spend in the first 6 months. On top of that, this card currently offers 15 points per dollar on dining worldwide. Yeah, 15 points per dollar. And there's no foreign transaction fees, so of course this is going to be my card of choice when I go dine out. Side note, if you have a friend who's always wanting to pay the bill on their card while you e-transfer or Venmo them, chances are you're probably effectively going to be paying off their next business or first class flight. With my dining expenses alone, I don't think I can hit the bonus on the Personal Platinum Card, so I'm actually going to be diverting most of my grocery and other spend on the Cobalt from the Cobalt to the American Express Personal Platinum Card. I did brag about how high the Cobalt multipliers are on dining and groceries, but because the US Personal Platinum Card earns so much more on dining and I need that spending to fulfill the minimum spend requirement, I'm going to be dropping the Cobalt off of my portfolio. I would ideally still keep the Aeroplan Reserve business just because I'm earning 10x on it on gas purchases. But if I feel like there's ever any danger of being able to meet the bonus on the Personal Platinum, I probably would draw some more spending from gas into the Personal Platinum Card. The second is going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. And there's a very specific category that this card fulfills, and that's the non-American Express dining multiplier. The Chase Sapphire Preferred does have a 3x multiplier on dining worldwide, and because it is a Visa card, it's going to be soaking up a lot of the action on restaurants that don't take American Express. This is much more prevalent in Canada than in the US, so this Visa card will actually see a lot of use, especially at Asian restaurants that notoriously don't take American Express. If we revise my Canadian portfolio with these two new US cards, this is what we're looking at in terms of stats. We'll get the same 20x Aeroplan on Air Canada purchases up to $1,000 on the TD VIP. But now that we've dropped the Cobalt off, we are getting that 15x US MR points on dining using our UX Amex Platinum. We get the same 10x Aeroplan on gas using our Aeroplan Reserve business, same with the Marriott hotels with the 5x. But we now do get a 3x Chase Ultimate Rewards points on non-Amex dining using our Chase Sapphire Preferred Card. The other two categories with our non-Amex on groceries and travel, with our TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite Privilege, and the non-category expense as well at 1.25. Now, on paper, it doesn't seem like there were many changes, but for someone who does spend most of their money on food, it does make a huge difference when you take a look at the 1.5x jump on the Visa Infinite Privilege to the Chase Ultimate Rewards, especially because there are a lot more different transfer partners that Chase does have compared to just using Aeroplan. This is the exact same, but elevated to another level when we look at the 15x multiplier on the US Personal Platinum. In the Canadian Amex ecosystem, we usually use partners like Aeroplan, Avios, and Marriott, and there are a bunch of different other transfer partners, but you're moving the points over at a subpar ratio. You can still transfer US MR points or Chase Ultimate Rewards points to Aeroplan, but because they have so many other different partners, this opens up opportunities for hitting a lot of different sweet spots using other programs. And I think in a changing game like this, diversity is key. In the case that Aeroplan does decide to devalue in the future, you do have points in other systems to use for your future flights. That's it for today's showcase of cards, and I hope you learned a little bit something new about how to use your different credit cards to maximize your return on spending. If you have any questions about some of the cards that we talked about today, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. My question to you for this time is, what's the maximum amount of credit cards that you feel comfortable carrying around in your wallet? Let me know in the comment box below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.